Yo, yo, what's good, family? We're live here. Happy Easter. He has risen. So, I'm just going to have a bit of an open discussion live here where we talk about fights and fighters. I want to talk a little bit about last night's card, terrible card, and UFC 300, and women's strawweight, the title picture there, and women's bantamweight, because that division is in a drought. Thanks to Myra fumbling the bag. Um, what's up, Toron Brown? How's it going? Man, but last night was just so weird. Like, we saw so many, like, eye poke TKO finishes. Like, eye pokes were legal last night. No contest. Like, that one dude who, yo, sup, low radar, that one dude who finished 21 Savage with the eye poke and got away with it. Dude, Chris Weidman knew what he was doing, bro. I like Chris. Uh, but he knew what the fuck he was doing, bro. He kept poking Bruno Silva in the eye. And then the last round, a double eye poke, left hook combination. You can't make this stuff up. A double eye poke, left hook combination finish against Bruno Silva. It's originally declared a TKO. They reassess it and they change it to a decision, not a no contest. I'm happy to see Chris Weidman get a win, but not like that, bro. Not like that. Because it just makes him look like a fucking cheater, you know? And then Weidman's out here saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be dropping to the floor when you're getting eye poked. So that's why the ref stopped it." But it's like, dude, didn't you try to milk the rules against Gegard Mousasi? Weren't you the same guy who was losing to Gegard and literally tried to play with the rules and failed a takedown and went on your knees, hoping that Gegard would land an illegal knee so you could win by DQ since you couldn't actually beat Gegard? Like, that's just hypocritical, man. That's just hypocritical of Chris Weidman there. Um, but I mean, there was a lot of finishes. I think like all the main card fights had finishes, I believe. Um, I don't know. I gotta check. There are a lot of finishes though. A lot of finishes on this main card. Sorry, I kind of hopped out this live just to check because I'm not sitting in front of my computer right now. So that's why the audio cut out. But yeah, a lot of finishes. But I didn't like that card when it came to all the eye pokes and then Aaron Blanchfield shitting the bed and disappointing people and disappointing me. And I did horrible for predictions. Like, I posted a YouTube video that I set to private because I'm embarrassed that I got all three main fights wrong, from the feature fight to co-main to main event. That rarely ever happens. I'm not surprised that Weidman was able to beat Bruno Silva because Bruno Silva isn't really all that good. He's lost recently more than he's won. Other than that one win over Tavares, he lost to Pereira, then got dropped and subbed by Gerald Mearshart, then dropped and subbed by Brendan Allen. So I thought Weidman could. I mean, he didn't look too bad in his last fight. He could potentially beat Bruno Silva. Um, but I thought Weidman was just so washed, and I just had no faith. But yeah, Aaron Blanchfield was a complete letdown. Let me read these comments. Chris Weidman should have had a DQ. Honestly, bro, I would not be against that. I would be sad, but yeah, those look very blatant. You definitely should have lost the point. Yeah, he should have got DQ'd too. Yeah, Nursultan Rebelov, wherever the frick that guy's surname is, should have been DQ'd for eye poking Cedric Dumbass, whatever the guy's name is. Sounds like dumbass, but yeah, that was just sad. And then yeah, Aaron Blanchfield, bro. Man, that was so disappointing. I mean, I'm not surprised that she lost that fight. Um, because like I said going in, I knew that Manon Furo was gonna be the better striker. I mainly picked Erin because I didn't. I mean, I knew she had to take down the fence, but I thought, oh, eventually Erin's gonna take her down and probably find a finish. And I just did not trust Manon Fiora's gas tank. Like I've seen Manon Fiora slow down in like too many fights. And I thought, man, Erin Blanchfield just has this pace where she can just break girls. And I thought, she slowed down a bit against Rose in the last round. I thought, man, Erin can make her slow down, which he actually did kind of fade a little bit during the fight, but Manon Furo was actually, to her credit, was actually able to, hold it together and not completely fall apart, still land her shots. She was getting hit a lot in moments and letting Erin close the distance and tag her, but ultimately, man, Manon Furo was in control, and I was very impressed by Manon Furo's performance. But very disappointed in Erin Blanchfield. Maybe I'm like just being too harsh, but come on, man. Come on. That's just not what I expected from Blanchfield. I expected more from Erin as the guy that picked her to win. Like I thought she was just better than that. I mean, she didn't adjust. She kept circling into that check hook, kept running forward, never tried to switch up her takedowns. Her corner was literally saying, Erin, can you chain wrestle? Can you give us different styles of takedowns? She would hardly shoot any takedowns. Like, I don't understand why she was striked. It's like she had such confidence, stupid confidence in her striking. Like, hey, I can strike because I pieced up Jessica Andrade, who is not hard to outstrike at all. Oh, I can strike with Manon Furo. Like, give me a break, man. Give me a break. You were never going to outstrike Manon. Her pace only works when she is getting takedowns. Yeah. But I mean, look at Merab Dvalishvili, and that was a horrible comparison on my part. But come on, like Merab will shoot takedown after takedown, even if he can't get it. And Erin could not take down Tyler Santos. I'm gonna look at the stats of that fight right now. Look at Blanche Field versus Santos. Let me look at. Okay, she went 0 for 14 on takedown attempts, but she kept shooting. She did not give up. She kept spamming takedowns, pressing Talia up against the fence. Like she made Talia work, carry her weight. Now I know against Manon it was a little harder because Manon was staying off the fence and throwing Erin to the side, so it was a little bit tricky. And Manon Fiora was actually able to take down Erin Blanchfield, And in that first round, that was crazy when she picked up Erin, and then Erin nearly had a near guillotine attempt. That was insane. Like imagine if Manon didn't keep her composure in that guillotine, because most girls that Erin's fought, like JJ Aldrich, just didn't know what to do, didn't stay calm, didn't know how to fight the hands, and easily folded. Um, so yeah, I mean, credit to Manon, because if Manon didn't have that IQ and composure in that situation, we would be having a different conversation right now, and there wouldn't be the whole extra 4 rounds of Erin getting exposed, and I probably would still say, oh, she beats Val and Grasso, but now, knowing what I know now, she doesn't beat either. Tyler gave the blueprint. Yeah, she definitely did. She definitely gave the blueprint. I agree. And I should have seen this coming, man. That fight with Tyler was a bad sign that Erin was going to lose her next fight. She was never, I mean, she could still be champ, but if she was going to fight for the belt next, she was never beating Grasso. She was never beating Valentina. I did a video saying why I think Erin would dominate Val. If she fought Val, maybe like the version of Val from the first Grasso fight, she might have a chance. But the Val, like the war mode, angry Valentina in the second fight, no, she wouldn't win because Erin Blanchfield's kind of dumb. She hardly shoots takedowns, unless she's fighting Tyler, who has great takedown defense. Then she'll spam takedowns. But when she's fighting Aldrich for some reason and uh, Manon, she hardly shoots takedowns, so I think she'd be dumb against Val. Not shoot takedowns, walk forward, get punched in the face, and get pieced up by Valentina. She might take her down, but I don't think she would finish Shevchenko. She might just get a round of
getting her down, and Valentina for the next few rounds is keeping that range. Valentina would take her down. Valentina is well rounded. Valentina would get her in the clinch and trip her out and hold her down. So she loses to Shevchenko, and Grasso would just destroy her. I was wrong. I never pick against Grasso. So the fact that this girl had me thinking this was Grasso's kryptonite, I mean, says a lot to how overrated she was. But Grasso would kill her for reasons because her boxing is just too clean, and Erin hardly shoots takedowns. And even if she did get Grasso down, Grasso has a good ground game. She's improved since the Suarez fight. Her sub defense is good. Val couldn't finish her on the ground. I think she could survive the ground game of Erin. I hyped up Erin to be like this Brian Ortega kind of fighter, which she's not. Um, so she wouldn't be able to finish Alexa on the ground. Alexa is able to eventually get back to her feet. I think she'd scramble back to her feet and continue piecing up Erin. Erin would shoot some sloppy takedowns eventually, which Grasso would see coming and defend. So yeah, Grasso wins that pretty handily. And so does Val. This fight showed Erin's not ready. She's young, but she's got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And I want to explain why I think Macy Barber would beat Blanchfield. I think when they were supposed to fight in 2021, I didn't know much about Erin. I thought Macy had a chance. Then when I saw Erin ragdoll Miranda Maverick, I was shocked. I'm like, okay, this girl's good. But I think Macy would win just because Barber can wrestle too. She's very physical. She's very hard to take down. I mean, I know uh Andrea Lee took her down a bunch of times. Let me look up that fight too. Andrea Lee versus Macy Barber. I want to just see the stats of that fight. How many takedowns? Oh, wow. She went 5 for 5 on takedowns. Okay, never mind. Erin could probably wrestle fuck her maybe to a decision, but I don't see Blanchfield finishing her. If Blanchfield is lacking in takedown attempts, or if Barber is able to actually defend takedowns better than the Andrea Lee fight, she's gonna mess up Erin in the clinch, and on the feet, she's gonna outstrike her and land the bigger and better shots, and probably beat Erin the way that she beats Caitlin Chukagian and Miranda Maverick. I think that even though people thought Miranda was robbed, I didn't think so. It would probably go like the Miranda Maverick fight, and like Barb would probably squeak by a controversial decision, but probably a damage-based decision where like maybe Erin gets a few good takedowns, has some good control time, but is taking more damage, eating big shots, and not dishing out enough damage. That's how I think it would go. And people would be like, oh, Erin was robbed, but Erin got hurt by big shots, got busted up. That's what I think would happen if they fought. I really think so. I think this fight with Madden really opened up a huge can of worms. It opened up a third eye. It opened up a lot of eyes, man. Like, she got exposed. I do think, yes, she is overrated. I don't care what anyone says. She's not as good as she was gassed up to be. That's why she's overrated. She still has a lot more to prove at the young age of 24. Now, she can get better, but right now, yeah, she really ain't all that. Let's just put it that way. And it's just kind of crazy how Rose Namajunas on one hand did better against Fiora than Blanchfield. Let me see. Erin ain't overrated. Styles make fights. I know she needs to work on counters. If she ain't able to use her wrestling, Alexa just needs to keep it standing. Yeah, Alexa would. Yeah. Except she has no IQ and she faded. Yeah, I agree. Tyler Santos has questionable fight IQ, and even though she went 5 rounds with Val, a big part of why she lost, it's not just because of the head, but I mean, she was getting tired. She was kind of slowing down, so I'm not surprised that she folded to the pace of I'm not surprised she folded to the pace of Blanchfield. What fight do you like? Barber versus Erin? Because I like that fight too. I was originally thinking let's do Namajunas Barber, which I think that is the fight to make. But I think they should maybe do Namajunas versus Silva. But I know Rose wants to go up the rankings. But I'd say maybe Rose versus Sermonara, Chukagian, or Natalia Silva, a Striker's Delight, and let Barber and Erin settle their beef right now. Let's just get it over with. Yep, a big, bulky Brazilian, a lot of muscle, carries a lot of muscle, cuts a lot of weight. So yeah, let's see how she does in the PFL. Though I think she'll do okay. I think she'll do well for herself in the PFL. I see a lot of going in the direction of Max Holloway. Now they're saying he'll beat Justin. Yeah, dude, a lot of people are picking if she kept it ugly, she would have given herself a better chance. I agree. Oh, and did you see that head kick that Aaron landed in round 5? She hurt Manon Fuhrer with that head kick. She temporarily wobbled her, but Manon just kept a good poker face. She held it together, but she got hurt. Like, could you imagine if Aaron Blanchfield caught her, like, finished her with a head kick in the last round? What a comeback that would be. Like, Aaron does have pretty good kicks, but okay. Yeah, a lot of people are picking Max to win this fight, which is very interesting. I get it, though. Max is a fan favorite. We love him. We all want him to win. I'm not doubting the logic that these people have in picking him to win. Like, they see ways he could win. It's very possible. He's going to be more physically prepared for lightweight. He's not fat now. He's actually muscular. He's got more muscle definition. He might have more power. Gaethje can't slow down. The body shots are there, but I just don't think Max is going to be able to do it. I think Aaron takes Barber. It's possible. Max has a chance, but I don't know, man. I just think that every time Holloway tries to engage Gaethje, Gaethje's just gonna punish him every time. Gaethje's just gonna sit down on his punches, bite down on the mouthpiece, and he's gonna throw with Max. He's gonna punch with Max Holloway. The blueprint is out there. Dustin Poirier wrote the blueprint. Volkanovski followed 3 times in a row. Lost the second time, but whatever. Water under the bridge. Arnold Allen kind of followed that blueprint. That's why Max was not able to go full Max mode on him, even though he still won. But yeah, it's like if you are able to counter Holloway when he tries to engage you, and you don't give him ground, and you don't just let him settle into his combos, you don't let him finish his combos, you can beat Max. Even Yair Rodriguez kind of had a bit of success for that reason. Like a lot of these guys are able to lately negate the snowball effect of Max. And I think if these guys can do it, Justin Gaethje sure as hell can do it. Gaethje is going to beat up that front leg of Max Holloway, which is going to slow down the movement, slow down the pressure, negate the power that Max might gain at lightweight. And when it comes to the punching exchanges, Gaethje's going to get the better end of it. Max isn't going to be able to hurt him the same way. Gaethje's going to hurt him a lot. And with both their styles and how powerful Gaethje is, Max is not going to be able to let off all his combos. I'm sorry, bro. Max ain't winning this fight. It's going to be like a more competitive version of the Tony Ferguson fight, and Gaethje stops him in the late rounds. That's what I think is going to happen. But I really want Max Holloway to win. Um, Let me read more of these comments. Holloway has put on some size. He looks like an actual lightweight now. That's true. He does. Holloway looks bigger than Justin. I gotta see them stand next to each other. I know they had that like face off, but I don't know. I think Gaethje might still have more frame on him. Max did look slightly taller in the face off, though. I'm still going with Justin. Me too. Yeah, Yair Rodriguez showed the blueprint to because Max was tagging. He was tagging up Max too. Exactly. I told you Aaron's striking was trash, tax free. Well, I never really thought Aaron's striking was great. A big part of why I praised Blanchfield was not her striking. I mean, I did say her striking was coming a long way because she was piecing up Jessica, but it's just what impressed me was okay, her ability to quickly finish up Jessica as soon as she got her down, and we know how tough and resilient of an opponent Jessica Andrade is. And then the way she was able to grind out Tyler Santos and beat her more convincingly than Shevchenko did. That's what really impressed me. It's her wrestling, her pressure, her toughness, not so much her striking. Although she does have pretty good kicks. She does have a pretty good 1-2. Yeah, she's not a great striker though. Didn't Aaron's corner tell? No, Aaron's corner was urging her to chain wrestle. I remember that. Every time Holloway and Justin exchange in the pocket, Justin's going to win every exchange. He will. That's because that's all she could do, take down the grappling, neutralize. I think Hill is going to KO Alex Pereira. I hope so, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys, I know Toron. I think Lolita watched my UFC 300 prediction video. I picked Peloton to win in my video. I'm not really confident either way though. That for me, that prediction was a coin flip. It's just that the last time I picked Alex to lose, he proved me wrong. And even though he comes through for me when I pick him, when I pick against him, he wins. Like I picked Izzy to win the first MMA fight. Izzy lost, almost won though. And then I picked Yuri, and then Yuri got finished, early stoppage. But Hill's coming off like an injury, Achilles injury. So I don't know, it kind of worries me, but them being Southpaw versus Southpaw, it could take away the low kicks of Peloton. I didn't really think of that in my prediction video, but I don't know, man. With the experience Alex has against all stances, all striking styles, he might find a way. And with those calf kicks, they're just so hard to prepare for. He just knows how to land them and time them. And like I said, I just think that fight is going to, I want to be wrong, but I think it's going to play out similarly to Jan Blachowicz versus Dominic Reyes, where Jan was getting beat up to the body and legs and was down on the cards and got desperate, got his nose broken, and then just went in the pocket, tried to brawl with Jan, and then was on chicken legs, tumbled to the ground, got ground and pound TKO'd. I do think Hill's going to get desperate at some point. He's going to try to come after Alex. When the damage in his leg settles in, when he's being outpointed, when he gets, I think Alex is going to frustrate him, lower him out of his element, and he's going to catch him coming in like he did to Yuri. I see that happening, but it's also very possible that Poatan does get caught. Like Alex Pereira off the back foot has bad defense. Um, and whenever Yuri would go southpaw, it would confuse Alex. And Hill is a southpaw, but I think he's going to be more prepared for that stance of Hill and how to target the legs from that stance. But I could see Pereira getting chinned. I mean, Hill has a nasty one too. Israel Adesanya tagged him with that same shot 3 times and eventually knocked him out. I can definitely see Jamal hurting him like that. And people acting like Hill just can't strike with Pereira or is crazy to not shoot a takedown. It's just people who act like there's just a night and day striking difference is just kind of retarded. Like you're not retarded for saying that if you think that. But the take in itself is, oh, I dropped the R word. I'm gonna get demonetized. YouTube, please don't demonetize me, please. But okay, it's kind of stupid because Jamal is a good striker, and Alex Pereira, his last few opponents were strikers. Jan was competitive with him on the feet. Jan could have struck with him more than he tried to. He wrestled more than he struck. He could have struck more. Yuri did all right on the feet. Yuri wasn't getting outclassed on the feet. I don't think Jamal's going to get outclassed per se. He's not going to get outclassed. He's a better boxer than Alex Pereira. I just think Alex is going to out tactic him. I think he's going to outsmart him, have a better game plan. He's going to be harder to hit than expected, and he's going to find a home for those calf kicks and work the body, use those body kicks to disrupt the boxing of Jamal Hill. Um, and then eventually catch Jamal blitzing forward. But you know what? It would not hurt Jamal Hill to mix in some takedowns. He might shoot a takedown. I could definitely see it. He might surprise him with a takedown attempt. But at the end of the day, it's a striker versus striker matchup. Jamal Hill is a striker. So it makes sense for him to not want to shoot a takedown. He doesn't need to shoot a takedown on him. Like, remember everyone said that Sean Strickland needed to wrestle to beat Israel Adesanya, and he outclassed him on the feet for 5 rounds, even though it was a fluke, and Israel Adesanya is better than him, and Sean Strickland is mid as fuck. Still, the fact that Sean Strickland is a good boxer. He's good on the feet. It's difficult to deal with on the feet. He did not need a takedown to beat Israel Adesanya. Same way Jamal does not need a takedown to beat Alex Pereira. He could knock him out straight up. Yuri did not need takedowns to beat Pereira when he could have won that fight. He just needed Goddard to not be biased. He needed better reffing. And maybe in the midst of that blitz late round 2, it wouldn't have hurt him to just shoot a takedown just to avoid getting caught, you know. Weird card. Yeah, the card was very weird. Yeah, Jamal Hill is the big dude. I've been saying Alex is slow and stiff on the feet. He also leaves that chin in the air. Don't forget Yuri was tagging him up. If Hill starts teeing off, Alex won't be like, yeah, exactly. And I don't think Pereira's gonna have the chin of Glover Teixeira to take all those shots, man. Yeah, Lolita, I want Hill to win too because he's a brother like myself. So there's a bit of racial bias. I'm kind of guilty of that, but all racial bias aside, I like Jamal Hill. I like his personality. A lot of people don't like him. I like how he says what's on his mind. He stands on business. But I like his fight style too. He's very exciting to watch. Very talented. And I was really happy when he beat Glover Teixeira. I was really happy when he beat Glover Teixeira. And I was stoked to actually finally have a black champion that I could get behind and actually like because I was not feeling Aljamain Sterling. I don't hate the dude. I'm a Jan sexual, so I don't really like. I was against Aljo. Let's just say that. And then Leon Edwards, he beat my guy Usman. So, and I was never that high on. Well, I was high on Leon at one point, but when he became champ and got the flute kick, yeah, I'm like, nah, I don't like Leon. I don't like Aljamain Sterling. And then Ngannou left, and Israel Adesanya at the time lost to Pereira. So it was just a breath of fresh air to have Hill come in the picture and get that belt. I was really happy, and then happy when Izzy got the belt back before Sean ruined it all. I'm really going off in this video. I'm saying what's on my mind. I don't really care. But it was so refreshing to have Hill win that title because, man, I was going through a phase in MMA like to close out 2022 of just letdowns. Like 2022 was such a bad year for me of all my favorites losing. Like you guys remember that? Like Rose Namajunas had to lose the belt, and to all people, it had to be Carla in the worst performance ever. Pena gets 50-44, 43 by Nunes against someone she just beat. Usman gets knocked out, and Usman's always been one of my favorites. Israel, his boogeyman, beats him again, knocks him out. Early stoppage, but you get the point. Peter Yan goes on a losing streak. Like that year was a nightmare. So to start off the year with Jamal Hill becoming champ, like that was, whew, it just felt great, especially when Yuri Prohaska lost the belt from an injury. I got to have another, not only like race aside, racial bias aside, I got to have just another champ, another light heavyweight champ that I can actually get behind and like because I respect Blachowicz and Teixeira. I just wanted the young guys to take over in the division. I kind of wanted them to be gotten rid of. I was annoyed that, Jan beat Rakic via injury and then went to a draw with Ankalaev. I wanted Ankalaev to win, so and I was happy Yuri beat Glover, pissed that he lost the belt from the injury. So I was so happy Jamal got that belt. So it would have meant a lot if Yuri would have became a two-time champ. It would mean a lot if Jamal Hill could become a two-time champ. I just don't know if it's gonna happen, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll see. Erin is so overrated. She is. I like Jay Hill. Me too. What about that guy, Nate? Which Nate? Nate the Train Landwehr or Nate Diaz? I hate that Zhang is fighting above Holloway and just me too, man. That's so shitty. And not only do I hate that, I hate who Zhang is fighting. I don't hate Yan Xiaonan. I just hate the matchup, bro. Like, what pisses me off is the moment the UFC failed to get that fight in China, that should have been a green light for Tatiana Suarez to get a title shot since Weili's next defense was going to be in the States. And in this title, in the video, I'm saying why Zhang must win. She has to win. I don't want Yan Xiaonan to win the fight because she has that stain on her record of losing to Esparza. That really sucks. And Zhang outclassed Esparza. And stylistically, depending on where Carla's at, she probably still beats Yan Xiaonan, which makes it more embarrassing. I don't want Carla to have any chance of being champ again. Um, and I want Tatiana will beat the shit out of Xiaonan. I'm not afraid of that. I'm more afraid for Suarez against Zhang. But I want Tatiana to fight a champ that scares me. I want to feel that fear for her. And I want Tatiana to be the one to beat Zhang. I want her to prove everyone wrong. Everyone who's doubting Tatiana and saying, "Oh, she can't beat Zhang. Zhang's the best. She's the pound for pound best." Everyone's building up Zhang Weili to be this unstoppable monster, which she is. But that's what will make it so much sweeter if Tatiana can become champ off of her. Whereas if she beats Jan, it won't hit the same. I won't be as nervous for that fight. It'll just be like, okay, she just dog walked a stylistically favorable matchup. Like, okay, she beat the girl who beat Zhang, but I want her to be the one who ends the reign of Zhang Weili after Rose Namajunas. I want it to be Tatiana. It's got to be Tatiana for Tatiana's legacy's sake. It just has to be that way. It has to be that way. Yeah, Nate Landwehr's entertaining. I heard that Kyle Nelson called him out. That'd be a pretty good fight. Uh it bothers me that Pereira posts those stupid videos of him in Vienna. I think he does it to get back at his former girlfriend. He just used to be professional. Now he's a social media. Yeah, and I don't, man, I think he did his ex girl dirty. I mean, I know that there's some like rumors that she was married when she was with him, but I heard that like she wanted to marry Poatan. Poatan didn't, and then she said he had commitment issues. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, Max and Gaethje should be the co-main, and if the UFC could not get Hill versus Pereira on here, and the main event was Holloway Gaethje, that would be fine. But the UFC, before adding Hill Pereira, they kept Zhang Xiaonan above them just because it's an undisputed title fight. That fight annoys me, and I hope that there's no like Twilight Zone, magical upset that happens because it could happen. It's MMA. Yan Shao, like, it's possible that Zhang Wei Li could show up and have an off night, and Yan has a Matt Sarah moment. Or maybe Zhang gets washed up overnight, or maybe she gets caught by a lucky punch or a lucky kick. Anything can happen in this game. But if Zhang is on point, and if fate is on her side and God does not want no upset to happen, if what's supposed to happen, or if it's meant to be, is what I'm trying to say, then, Zhang Wei Li is going to win the fight because that's how it's supposed to be. And I think that, Jan is going to be her final defense before Suarez, you know, ends it all. But what kind of worries me though is, if this doesn't happen in Bellator, like two-time champions in Bellator, like Patricio Pitbull can defend their belts for like eternity. But like, for some weird reason, do you guys notice? And I'm kind of superstitious, but do you guys notice that every two-time champion in the UFC only has one title defense, and then they lose after getting their belt back? They get their belt back, defend one more time, they lose. You know what I mean? Zhang Wei Li, two-time champ over 5 years, one defense over Lemos. That kind of worries me, man. Is it going to be her time to lose again? And history repeats itself in the strawweight division like crazy. Like, you know, you want to lose to Rose. Rose's story goes the same way both times she had the belt. Same with Carla. Same with Carla. Carla Esparza, each time she beat Rose for the belt, she went on to get steamrolled and finished in the second round on her first defense twice. Twice against the person Rose beat. Rose twice goes out there, stops an unstoppable phenom, gets the upset twice. Two separate title reigns, one defense each in a close decision rematch, loses her first or second defense after that. So does that mean history repeated itself for Carla and Rose? Is it going to repeat itself for Zhang? She's also defending her belt in April too. So I don't know, man. It would have been so much better if she was fighting Tatiana, because I could look at these superstitions and be like, yo, Tatiana's got it. But with Xiaonan, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But, I mean, Cain Velasquez is one of the rare two-time champs in the UFC to have more than one defense. Every other two-time champ, only one defense or no defense. And then they lose on the fifth year. Did you hear? Oh, yeah, she's training with Marab. She's training with Marab Davalishvili. That's going to be helpful for her, training with a tank and a wrestler like her. Why do you think Jan's going to whoop Wei Li? What does Jan bring to the table? Tell us, B. Williams. I'm not thrilled for the matchup either. Jan not going to win. Yeah, like I said, unless Zhang slips on a freaking banana peel, I don't see how she wins. Like Zhang's last opponent was more dangerous than this one. I was nervous for Weili against Amanda Lemos because I know Weili was better everywhere, but Lemos is dangerous with her power. Anything can happen. There was always a chance that she could have caught Weili on the chin, knocked her out, and she had two close sub attempts on Weili too. Like she's got a nasty ground game. She had Zhang in a tight necktie, so there was always a chance of her knocking out or subbing Zhang Weili. There was that fear factor. There was that danger that Lemos brought to the table. Whereas Yan Xiaonan is a pillow-fisted points fighter who's one-dimensional. Really not much to worry about in this fight with against Zhang Weili. I know she knocked out Jessica, but come on, the way Jessica fights, it was bound to happen. Running forward with your chin in the air like you don't care. That's not how Zhang Weili fights. I don't see Zhang Weili getting clipped the same. I mean, she could. I don't see it. And I don't think Zhang's chin is as spent as Jessica Andrade, who's been doing this for so long, so many wars. Zhang hasn't had the same amount of wars as Jessica has, so we'll see. Weili will have a great night. Jay kicking, B will, no disrespect intended. I know it's an autocorrect. He probably knew what he meant though. He probably believes that Yan Xiaonan is gonna win. We all have our opinion though. I'm not gonna clown him. Maybe he'll be right. Maybe he'll get to say I told you so. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of calling upsets before, and I've picked underdogs and being clowned. I said Grasso was going to beat Shevchenko. Do you guys remember? I was on Coach Shelton Harrison's Alive, literally, and Wild Tiger and all these other girls and James Perez. They were ganging up on me and hounding me for saying Grasso. And at the time, I didn't even actually pick Grasso to win. I switched my pick to Grasso in January 2023. But in December 2022, I was saying Grasso has a chance and is a threat. And they're like, how is she going to win? How is she going to win? And in the end, I got the last laugh. And I got the last laugh twice and soon to be three times. So I called Rose beating Wei Li and I got clowned. I said Pena was a threat to Nunes. I got clowned, and look what happened. So maybe this will be B. Williams' moment. You know, I won't doubt. I won't doubt him. But yesterday, I said that in my final thoughts video that last night was going to determine the true number one contender at women's flyweight because there's these debates going around. You know, like there's debates of who's the best flyweight in the world, who's the true champ, Grasso or Shevchenko, because of that draw controversy. And before that, there was a controversy and debate of who should be next, Furo or Blanchfield. Blanchfield and Manon already settled it, and we know we know there's only one number one contender. That's Manon now. Officially it's Val, but you get what I mean. Like Manon's gonna be undeniably next. But what I'm saying is now there's gonna be another score to be settled. And this next fight, last night was to determine the true number one contender. September 14th, Mexican Independence Day, is going to determine who's going to be the true apex predator, as No Filter MMA likes to call it, of women's flyweight. Who's going to be the true queen? I think it's going to be Alexa, but it's going to determine it. After the trilogy, there's going to be no more debate. We have a clear next contender, Manon. Soon we're going to have a clear, decisive champion. And I can't wait. It could be Valentina. Maybe her old ass will finally beat Alexa Grasso, and there'll be no doubt as to who's better. And then it'll be Manon and Val, or Grasso beats her times three because I thought she won the second fight, and then it's Grasso versus Furo. But man, if Grasso can beat Shevchenko a third time, honestly, she's going to be champ for a long time. Get ready for a long Alexa Grasso title reign, a dominant reign for Grasso. Because I think she beats Erin on the rebound. She beats Macy Barber again, this time via finish. And I do favor her to beat Manon. I mean, Rose Namajunas was competitive with her. I think Grasso at this point in their careers is better than Rose. If Rose could give you those kind of problems, man, imagine Grasso, who has way sharper hands than Manon. Manon gets hit a lot. Manon is sloppy and drops her hands a lot. I do think Grasso would get the better of the exchanges, and she might turn Furo into a wrestler, honestly. But I think after this trilogy, if Grasso comes out the victory, she's going to be better than ever. She's going to be the best she's ever been. And no one's going to be able to beat Alexa for a long time. I'm going to just keep predicting Grasso to win. And I'm just going to keep being correct until I'm not. Anything can happen. It's MMA. You are correct. No matter how much you try to spell correctly, autocorrect becomes autocorrupts. True. Aaron's not ready. But who would Manon face? She's gonna. Well, okay. I think Manon's just gonna sit out and wait a year. I think Grasso and Val are gonna fight in the fall after finishing tough, and then Manon Fiore is gonna fight for the belt in early 2025. That's what I think is gonna happen. Whereas if Blanchfield won, I think she would have took another fight. I think they would have given her Rose and she would have took the fight. But because Manon won, I mean, I don't really think they're gonna do Manon versus Barber. Would be a waste of time, and Barber would get her ass kicked. I mean, Barber said, "Oh, I don't want to fight both of them because they're boring." That's such cap. Manon's not boring. Manon would kick your ass. And do you remember when Manon was supposed to fight Jessica Andrade? Bro, Andrade would have got outclassed horribly in that fight. Yeah, I agree. Oh, wait, Grasso and Val won't fight? Nah, they're gonna fight this year. They're gonna fight this year. Trust. Um, let's talk about women's bantamweight now. So that's a dead division right now. It really does suck that Raquel Pennington is the champion. It sucks. Zhang will win the fight however she wants. The only fighter that beat Zhang Weili is Tatiana Suarez, but Weili is a monster, though. With her high IQ, physicality, and grappling. Yeah, and that's what scares me for Suarez, bro. I like those fights that scare me. I like those fights that scare me. Like, I didn't really like being scared for Pena, but I didn't expect her to win. So I guess that doesn't really count. But like, I was nervous for Rose against Joanna and Jacek. I thought she was gonna lose, but I had a feeling she would win, and then she won. I was super nervous both times for Rose against Zhang. I picked Rose to get the upset the first time. I was doubting myself and my pick, and then it was worth it once I was correct. Once Rose won, and feeling the thrill of her getting the belt back. Um, and then even what was I gonna say? And then even with Aldana Nunez, it didn't go my way. It didn't go well, but again, I had the balls to put myself out there taking a risky pick. Didn't pay off, but it's the risk we take sometimes at predictions. But then Grasso Valentina, again, that fight scared me for Alexa. I had my doubts, but I'm like, I'm putting my nuts on the line here. I'm gonna predict Grasso's gonna win this fight against Val, for as bold as it sounds. And look what happened. So I feel like Suarez against Zhang would just be another Nunez Pena, Zhang Rose, Joanna Rose to me, honestly. That's the vibes that fight would give me. That's the feeling, that's the thrill that fight would give me. So I really hope that fight does happen in the future for the belt. Yeah, well, Mannon's not gonna go up until she wins the belt, but yeah, Raquel Pennington. Oh, man, and Dumont. That's actually a good fight. I'm surprised Norma's on the prelims of next week with Jermaine. I thought that'd be the co-main, but okay, back to what I was saying. Raquel being champ is the worst thing ever to happen in that division, man. She wants to take time off. She wants to wait till November. So Juliana Pena, who I've been waiting my ass off to see back in the octagon, is not going to fight till November because, of course, Pena's not going to take another fight to pass the time. I mean, she could fight Irene Aldana, Myra Bueno Silva, Ketlin Vieira, so many options. Pena could just get back in there to just erase the ring rust and then fight for the belt, but she's gonna wait until she's completely washed and rusty to fight Raquel and then probably lose because of it. I mean, the odds do favor Pennington in this fight. I do think Pena's better, but I don't think Raquel's going to get a good version of Pena, unfortunately. Although I hope I'm wrong. But Pena's going to be 35, 2.5 years off. Like, Pena did not have to be out as long as she did. I get it, the rib injury, but before the Nunes trilogy was booked, Pena had a chance to fight again, and she took that. She took that from herself. Like, Pena was offered Holly Holm, I think, and she said no. I don't know if she was offered Holly, but Holly did call her out, and she said no. She could have been offered Ketlin Vieira, but didn't want to take that fight. I know for a fact she was offered Irene Aldana because I heard somewhere. I heard that the UFC tried making Aldana because remember when Aldana Pennington 2 was booked? It was said the reason why that fight was made is because Juliana Pena turned down the Irene Aldana fight. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason why. And if Juliana Pena accepted the Irene Aldana fight for March 2023, because that's when it was going to be booked, and then what happened was they changed it to Raquel and then they moved it to May. But if she took that fight, UFC San Antonio, or who knows, maybe they would have fought in the Apex. Maybe they still would have moved it because they didn't want women's MMA to headline. But I'm just saying, if she would have took the fight with Aldana, win or lose, she has a fight under her belt. Let's say she took the risk against Irene and won, beat a dangerous, scary contender in Aldana. I think fans would be respecting Juliana more. And then let's say they book the Nunes trilogy, she still pulls out. At least she'll have had one fight in the last year since the Nunes fight. She'll have had one fight, in between, and she wouldn't be in as risk of being washed up and rusty. So it's gonna suck. Raquel's probably gonna freaking win and then retire on top, which I hope not, man. Pena needs to save the division. I mean, it's so bad to the point where Nunes has talked about coming back potentially. Like, bantamweight's so shit that Nunes needs to come back and save it. And I don't even know if Kayla Harrison's gonna win, man. Like, is Kayla even gonna have a good weight cut? What if she shows up completely like depleted and gets destroyed? I would suck. Bantamweight man should move up. Manon Dumont, Manon Pena. Wow. I have a $103 parlay on Zhang Wei Li with my last leg, so I'm a little biased, but I believe Zhang has too many paths to victory. I forgot Raquel won the belt. Yeah, I mean, Zhang Wei Li, I do think on the feet it's tough, but I mean, Zhang Wei Li outstruck Ioane and Jacek in the second fight, and in the first fight, I mean, numbers wise, Ioane had the edge. She went toe to toe with what I believe was the last of prime Ioane. She went toe to toe, tooth and nail for 5 rounds in a competitive striking match. Where I think that version of Ioane would dog walk Zhang Wei Li. I do not think Yan Xiaonan could handle that kind of pressure from Wei Li. I just think Whaley's tougher, hits harder, and just has that X factor of not only does she hit hard, she can take her down. She can out wrestle Yan Xiaonan. And I think she's going to destroy her on the ground worse than Esparza did. Manon versus Aldana. Ooh, I think Aldana takes it. I don't think Manon would do as well at bantamweight, to be honest. But speaking of Aldana, man, I'm so bummed that she's so far off from a title shot, and it's all because of Pennington. It's really her fault. Because Pennington could be a good champ and say, I want to fight in the summer, get it over with, and then Aldana could have a fight in the summer and then fight for the belt by the end of the year, but she probably won't be champ until 2025, but she's also getting older, so yeah, time's not on her side. But I did predict that Irene was going to be champion at age 37. I said at age 37, Irene Aldana will be champion in her late 30s. So I could be correct here. We'll see. I could be onto something. Nunes should not come back. I mean, I guess so, because yeah, she was so dominant. She needs to just give the bantamweight division a chance to breathe. But yeah, unfortunately, Raquel won the belt off Mayra Bueno Silva because Mayra Bueno Silva sucks ass. Poor fight IQ, typical shit Brazilian cardio. What is it with these Brazilians having horrible gas tanks? Like, you got Marlon Moraes. All those gas tank was always kind of bad. Tyler Santos. Um, yeah. I mean, Pereira has okay cardio, but kind of fades in his fights too. Like, it's really annoying. Paulo Costa, those cardio's kind of gotten better. Claudia Gadelia. Nunes, even. But man, UFC 300 is such a great card, man. I'm really hyped for it. I even like during last night's fight night when they were playing the promo for 300 and they're showing like the card lineup. Usually when they show the card lineup, they always got that music playing in the background, like the out of context song by Stem. This time they actually used like one of the older tracks that they would use from like the early 2000s. So UFC's really going retro with this one. It just sucks that UFC 300 is like refusing to. It sucks that the UFC's refusing to give us like a legit poster for that card. Like, we could have a good poster, and they're not giving it to us. Manon is 5'7". Come on, she's bantamweight size. I know, but she's just not going to be able to. The reason why she's doing so well at flyweight is because she's able to weight bully everybody. Up at bantamweight, she would struggle. But you have a point. I think bantamweight she would actually do pretty well. But right now, her focus is the belt at flyweight. So until she wins that belt, I don't see her moving up. But I do actually think Fiora would beat Raquel Pennington. I actually think she beats Pennington. Let's pull up these rankings right now. Who would Manon Fiora beat in women's bantamweight? She beats Melissa. I don't know who the hell that is. She beat Josiane Nunes, Chelsea Chandler, Julia Avila. Norma Dumont would win, I think, because she's equally as good of a striker. A little bit tighter in the exchanges. And yeah, she's just bigger. I don't know. I just think she'd win. I think she beats Yana Santos, beats Kianzad, beats Carol Rosa easily, beats Misha Tate. Yeah, I think she would beat Macy Chasson. Holly Holm, yeah, she'd beat her old ass at this point. But I think Aldana would win. I think Aldana just has too much power. Better boxing. I do think the kicks though of Manon would give Aldana a hard time, like the side kicks, the leg kicks. Aldana has a hard time with kicks. I mean, we saw Yana Santos gave her a tough time with the kicks. Same with Holly. So she could beat Aldana. I just think Aldana would catch her eventually and would like land a fight changing shot, I believe, and would just march her down and touch her up with big shots, kind of like what she did with Carol Hosa. She beat Silva again, Myra Silva. Ketlin Vieira, it depends on if Ketlin's able to impose her grappling. If not, I don't think she wins. And holy shit, I actually think she might beat Juliana Pena, honestly. But that's a tough one. I think Pena might get her. She might actually get a takedown and get her in a bad position, but that's a bad fight for Pena. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Pena wins, but low key Manon might take that. But I'm Pena biased, and then yeah, she beats the shit out of Raquel Pennington, no doubt about it. So you're actually onto something, Lolita. You're actually correct. UFC should redesign the gloves, the old Pride gloves, to maybe prevent eye pokes. But they won't do it, bro. Like, there's so many things that the UFC Dana refuses to do. Like, Dana White for years refused the 165-pound division, which is why a lot of fighters have been struggling in lightweight and 170 because they're either too small for 170 or too big for lightweight, and they could never find their footing because there's no 165. And now they're like not making these gloves. And last night we saw what happened, man. We saw 21 Savage get brutally eye poked finished. We saw Chris Weidman get an eye poke TKO and get away with it. I mean, eye pokes were literally legalized. So if we had the good gloves, then yeah. Speaking of last night being weird, I think I forgot to talk about Buckley versus I was so focused on the eye pokes, I forgot to talk about Buckley Luke K. Like, oh my gosh, that fight really pissed me off. And it's so sad because I thought Luke K was back after the RDA fight. I mean, he didn't look that good, but he won. But yeah, that was depressing. Really depressing. Like, Luke K just did not look good. He looked more hesitant than usual. And then shooting takedowns, which we rarely see from him. And then pulling guard and just giving up and letting this bum Joaquin Buckley ground and pound you to the canvas like that. Get out of here, man. Luke should have destroyed Buckley, bro. Like, that was another one of those results that made me mad that I got wrong. Like, Luke at his best would destroy Buckley. I'm coping, but he's a better fighter. Just he's washed up, and Buckley got lucky. He got a nerfed post brain bleed. Vicente Luque. They never should have made that Jeff Neal fight, man. They never should have made that fight with Jeff Neal and Luque because that fight ruined Luque for the worst. Weidman is going to be more remembered as the dirty eye poker now. Yep. He is creating a new legacy for himself as a dirty eye poker. Pathetic. Yeah, and celebrating breaking Anderson Silva's leg too. Even though he did apologize still. I have a pick of comparison with two promotion gloves. Prize are more friendly. Yep. I don't know why the UFC won't do it, but because they're better than Pride, I guess that's why. Yeah, he definitely ruined his career. And it's unfortunate how this fight game works. Like, we all take these risks. Sometimes you might take that one fight that's gonna ruin you forever, and you just never know. Erin is young, she still has time. Yuri Rakic. Yuri's gonna win that fight. Yuri's just gonna pressure cook Rakic, have more output, not get taken down a bunch and stalled out against the cage. Rakic is gonna try to make it boring and try to play a leg kick game, and Yuri's just gonna win by making it a dogfight. And I want to talk about the leg kicks. I did not really address. Well, I did address them in my video, but one missing point is okay. The difference between Poatan and Rakic is Pereira. His leg kicks are so sneaky and hard to prepare for. Like, you can think you're prepared, but when you're in there with Pereira, he's able to catch you with those kicks when you're not expecting it. He doesn't telegraph them. Whereas Rakic, his leg kicks are predictable. They're easier to see coming. They're easier to prepare for. So I do think Yuri will have an easier time nullifying the leg kicks. And, Pereira can land those leg kicks from the back foot, front foot, does not matter. Rakic, I feel like if Yuri's pressing him back a bunch, Rakic is not really going to be able to, he's not going to be able to catch him like that. So Grasso is going to kill Valentina Shevchenko. I agree. This is random, but my plug used to be locked, but with Dumas. Yeah, he ruined it for you, bro. What are you talking about? Movies? Lolita Davidovich did movies? Oh, a Canadian. Oh, she's a Canadian actress. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, never mind. I was lost. We couldn't really tell how good Buckley really is. It's not that good. He's dangerous. He's exciting to watch, but he's not gonna make it at the top of the division. I think Kevin Holland would beat him again. He called out MVP. MVP would embarrass him. Um, but yeah, I got Grasso winning this fight, and again, I think even if the last time was Val's night to win, and maybe if she should have won, I can unbiasedly admit maybe she should have won the second fight. I thought Grasso won. But I just think that that wasn't Grasso at her best. She didn't have an off night, but she wasn't as prepared as she should have been. And it was Val's best night since the best we've seen of Val in her prime years. Like, she knew she had to look good in the rematch with Grasso. She gave it her all. But I think that's the last time we're ever gonna see Val look as good as she did in the rematch. Whereas Grasso, she's only gonna get better from there. Where Val is just gonna stagnate. And Val didn't really improve in the rematch. She did a lot of the same things, same approach. She just packed on more muscle, more size, and was a bit more aggressive and brutal. That's all. That's really it. But yeah, Grasso's just gonna be younger, fresher. She's gonna adapt. Last time Val kind of figured her game out. I think this time, I think Grasso's gonna out adjust Valentina Shevchenko's adjustments and get the last win and find another finish. And this is gonna be the true passing of the torch. Aljo is going to submit Cater. Honestly, I agree. I don't know if he'll submit him, but I do agree that Aljo's going to win. If you watched my 300 video, I did pick Sterling to win, but I have him winning by a decision. I think he'll just kind of blanket a ring rusted post knee injury Cater. I expeditiously need Shevchenko to beat Grasso. Well, too bad. Kevin Holland, Wonderboy. No, bro. Holland got smashed. There's like no need for that rematch. Buckley champ, nah. No, Wonder Boy doesn't have it. I mean, Wonder Boy will do good if you give him like another striker or someone who won't try to take him down, except for Jack Della Maddalena, um, and Leon Edwards. But for the most part, he'll do good if you give him a striker. But too many of these top guys are well rounded. Nobody in this division is one dimensional except Wonder Boy and MVP kind of. So yeah, he's just not gonna make it to the top anymore. Still beats Buckley's ass though. Ah, she's your alias. Okay. Why don't you do fight companions? I could definitely do them. I've kind of thought of doing fight companions. I kind of want to, but if I'm like watching pay-per-views and stuff like that, I'm usually going out to sports pubs, or if I'm watching pay-per-views or fight nights at home, uh a lot of the times I'm like watching with my mom and I just don't want to be going live while someone else is right next to me talking. So that's usually why. I mean, if I lived by myself, like in an apartment or something, I would probably do more companions and stream stuff on the computer. But I actually did do one fight companion for UFC Paris, and I actually did a fight companion for Cruz versus Cheeto Vera in 2022, but unfortunately, you guys can't check them out because that was on my old channel that got taken down for copyright. But yeah, 2022, I do have a couple of fight companions. Where I was reacting to Cruz getting knocked out by Vera, and reacting to that wild fight with Serial Gone and Serial Gain. What does worry me though about these companions though is because I think the last couple times, well, no, with the Cruise, she don't want to have my earbuds in, but with the Gone Tuivasa one, I was watching it from the TV. I had the house to myself. Actually, that's not true. My sister was home, but in the kitchen, not invested. But I had the living room to myself, and I was going wild reacting, but I had a TV on, the volume up, and it was playing the background of my live video, right? But what worried me, I was like worried that okay, I'm worried that if I do this again moving forward, that I'm gonna get like a copyright strike because audio from the UFC is playing, and I'm worried that like that's gonna be enough for the UFC to flag me. And I already have 2 strikes on this channel, believe it or not. Strike 3, I'm out in a couple of years. Okay, I had like multiple strikes on my other channel. I cannot afford one more strike, okay? I got a second strike. My first strike was for it was the breakdown video of Zhang's finish over Carla. I risked it by having one piece of movement footage. I had to redo it, delete it, redo it, and just have only stills. And then the second one I got was I posted Juliana Pena back when she was humble and not talking crap. I posted her post fight interview from 2015 UFC 192, and that, yeah, got flagged. So I got to be careful. But if I can do companions with the volume up and it's okay, let me know. Cause I'm sure Coach Sheldon Harrison does those, right? Jack Della will KO Shavkat. Nah, I don't think so. Ilya Taporio will fight Alexander Volkanovski in Spain in September. Yeah, I could see it. No, not in Spain. It's not. If it's in September at UFC 306, it's gonna be in Vegas in the Sphere. I don't think it's gonna be in Spain. If they're gonna go to Spain, it will probably be like maybe December. I don't know. I have been listening to DJC for a while now. You sound different, like more pensive, more mature, more methodical. That was meant to be a compliment. Oh, well, thank you. I've definitely listened to like a lot of my older stuff, like from my older channel. I still have some like videos on my phone. Some of them I like deleted, unfortunately, for storage, like an idiot. But I did not know I was going to lose my other channel. But I do have some old recordings from voice memos. I do have some old videos in my Google Drive. And I'm hearing how I used to sound like in 2020, 2021. I was like more high pitched. I was like a little more nervous sounding, especially 2020, because that was like my first time ever putting my voice out there on YouTube. So I was definitely nervous and awkward, but I got the hang of it over the years, and I've been doing this YouTube voice thing for like 4 years. And it all started with Zhang versus Joanna. And my first ever YouTube prediction was a success because I accurately picked Zhang to win that fight. Um, let's see. Buckley's too cocky for my liking. I agree. I hope Aljo wins. He might win, man, and it would definitely suck for him. I'm not an Aljo fan, but yeah, I would be happy for him if he could get a W and get his I would be happy for him if he could get a W, at featherweight and get in the rankings. Yeah, I've never done long streams like that. I mean, did I react to the full UFC Paris card? I don't think so. I think I only reacted to I think I just reacted to the main event. I can't remember. With Cruz, yeah, that one I only reacted to the main event. That's right. I remember that. How many viewers did I have? I can't remember actually. I don't remember. Grasso Val will headline the Sphere. Grasso will KO Valentina with a knee to the face. I hope so, because I know Val's gonna be like diving for the legs, diving for that crotch. Um, because she does not like the boxing of Alexa, so she's definitely gonna try to wrestle. So I would like to see Grasso throw a knee up the middle to the face, to the chin. Grasso has spent almost 45 minutes in the cage with her. She'll figure her out. The knockout is coming. It's going to be brutal. I'm praying that happens. Val versus Manning, Grasso versus Manning. Val Manning is interesting. I think she's got a good chance with Val because Val doesn't really have the boxing of Grasso. She's more well-rounded. She's got like the ability to mix it up and go for takedowns, but I don't think she's going to be able to impose wrestling, grappling on Manning. Manning's got good takedown defense. Manning's good with girls who try to clinch her up and throw her. Aaron's got a better clinch trip game than Shevchenko, so Val might end up being taken down and falling on the ground trying to take down Manon because Manon is strong, and I think Manon is bigger and stronger than Valentina. Striking wise, I think Val's a little bit slicker, a little harder to hit, a little bit better with distance management. But Manon is going to be fearless in the pocket. Like she's going to pressure Valentina. She's going to take the fight to her. And Valentina is a lot more hittable lately. So I can see Fiora finding a home for a lot of those shots. So I think Fiora might actually take a competitive decision in this fight against her, but Grasso I think would win. I think they're gonna do Buckley versus Chaos Williams next or Randy Brown. That'd be interesting. I mean, Buckley's gonna be ranked in the top 10 probably, and Chaos Williams and Randy Brown, I don't even think they're ranked. So I think Buckley's going to want to go ahead in the rankings, honestly. I don't think he's going to want to go backwards and risk his spot against someone unranked. I think it should be Buckley versus Jeff Neal or Buckley versus Wonder Boy, maybe Sean Brady, someone like that. Maybe Buckley versus Gilbert Burns. Maybe give Burns a chance to avenge his buddy. You've gotten good. It takes a while. Yeah, it does. I'm 23. Zhang Joanna was fun. Yeah, that was a great fight. I remember being so hyped for that fight. I was like pro Zhang Wei Li, but even though Zhang beat Jessica, I was excited for her to finally fight a real test, like in Yun Jacek and then Rose. Like those were fights I was really hyped about, and I'm glad they both happened and happened at the time that they did, in the order that they did too. Because Joanna deserved the title shot more than Rose because Rose was coming off a loss. And I wanted Rose to get the Jessica fight back first, so I was happy that she avenged that loss and then was able to come back and beat Zhang Wei Li, which is beautiful. Will Whitaker beat my favorite fighter, Hamzat Chimaev? I don't know. He should win. Like Chimaev might just ragdoll him in the first round, fail to get a finish, gas out, and get outclassed and lose a 49-45 decision. That could happen, but there's also a huge chance Kamzat on the ground is able to sub Whitaker. A huge chance. I don't think he'll knock Whitaker out, though, although what is scary about Kamzat, he's good with straight punches, underrated with straight punches, and he might game plan to use that southpaw jab on Whitaker to catch him as he's like leaning forward in the pocket. But ultimately, I think Rob should win just with his striking and his takedown defense and his cardio, his experience. But I would not be surprised if Khamzat won the fight. And if he wins that fight, I think people are going to respect Khamzat more. If he goes from going life and death with a short notice Usman to dominating and finishing a full camp Whitaker, I think fans are going to start to hype him up again. Yeah, more nervous. You're calm now. Yep. You remember me on my old channel, right? Can you imagine how much tickets to Val Grasso will be? Oh, it would be insane. I think Buckley is handsome. He's all right. Max versus Justin is an irrelevant fight. BMF title should be done anyway. With why is it confined to be one division? Should BMF be a heavyweight? That's a good question. I mean, it did start in the welterweight division, so I guess it just kind of has to do with the smaller weight classes. But it's crazy that this whole BMF thing is now actually becoming a defense because, like, when Masvidal fought Usman twice and Colby, he didn't lose the BMF title. Like Usman should have won the BMF belt not after the first fight, but after he knocked him out in the second fight, he should have got to win the BMF title. And then it should have passed on to Leon afterwards after he beat Usman. That's how it should have been. Because now we got Gaethje actually defending the belt, and if he loses, it's going to go to Max. So but yeah, the ticket prices are going to be insane. I mean, ticket overpriced tickets are why I failed to make the UFC Toronto card, unfortunately. I was able to see the weigh-ins. I failed to meet Alex, which pisses me off because the whole event was disorganized and the line was so long. And I went to the weigh-ins first and I thought I could juggle both and I could not. But at least I saw the weigh-ins though and saw fighters in person. Um as much as I love Valentina, I agree that Grasso will dominate or KO my girl Val. Yep. I just think it's her time, man. Like, if she was gonna beat Grasso, it should have been September 16th, 2023. She could have walked out the winner with a different pair of judges. I would have to swallow that, accept it, shed a few tears, but move on. Grasso would come back stronger, get the belt back eventually. Val would go on to lose to Manon Fiorot probably afterwards. Aaron, she would beat Aaron's ass, but lose to Manon probably. But Grasso would rebound and then probably beat Manon Fiorot down the line. Um, but no, she's in a different position. She's in a position where it's like she didn't come out with the belt. She put in all this work, all this hard work. Which was the best condition she's ever been physically, the best she's ever looked in a while. All that not to come out with the belt, and I think that was her chance to beat Grasso, looking as good as she did. And now I just feel like she's gonna look like how she did in the first fight. Very timid, not as aggressive, probably smaller again, and yeah, just get beaten handily and probably TKO'd or maybe subbed again. People should stop bitching. Yes, we know Holloway and Justin is a pointless or irrelevant fight, but it's entertaining. Be thankful at Rick. I mean, is the fight really pointless though? I mean, it's a fight. Max is moving up. It's an exciting fight. I mean, who cares? I don't really see how pointless it is. It's kind of pointless in the sense that Max could have waited at featherweight. He could be fighting Ilya right now. Gaethje could be fighting Islam Makhachev at UFC New Jersey. Instead, it's going to be probably Dustin Poirier. Um, yeah, that's the only problem I have with that fight. The timing of the matchup isn't good, but UFC 300 needed a big fight. Max Holloway, I believe, needed to be on UFC 300, and so did Gaethje, so did Oliveira. So yeah, I'm thankful. I think BMF was made for fighters who can't win an undisputed belt. That's funny. Um, I mean, Nate Diaz started this whole BMF thing. It's crazy. Nate created the BMF belt and never won his own belt. That's kind of sad. I don't mind the BMF belt because it gives fighters a chance to get paid more and it produces good matchups. It does. It does, for sure. I had a dream that Max Holloway won against Gaethje, and it was a knockout too, but my fight dreams are not consistently accurate. So I'm not sure. I mean, usually my dreams are their most accurate whenever I dream of an unwanted outcome. Like when I had multiple dreams, Pena lost the rematch to Nunes. It happened. So this one probably won't happen because because I want Max to win it. The dream was just a dream, I think. Max said he doesn't believe in waiting around. In life, you can't sit around and wait for shit. You have to make some moves. Yeah, I guess. And I mean, Max was thinking wisely when he said, well, what if Ilya wins and they're going to do a rematch? But not necessarily, bro. Like, Max Holloway could have, while Volk's taking time off, Max could have fought Ilya like in July, maybe, or June 29th, or June 1st, and then winner fights Volk in December. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been a thing. But I respect Max. He's got balls for taking this fight. So it is what it is, like he would say. If I was a fighter, I do want to wait a year to fight again for the title, or do I take a fight later year because I left the fight? It depends. It depends. I know a lot of fighters will wait a year. Carla did it. Raquel did it. Yuri did it, and it worked out. Honestly, if you've already fought for the belt once before, if you've already been a title challenger, well, actually, no, that's not how it works. Never mind, because even two-time title challengers will wait it out. But definitely, if you're a first timer and you never had your chance, I definitely would not risk it. I definitely play the waiting game. Um, for Erin Manone's case, for Mannon's case, she should wait a year. I think she should just wait. There's really no one left for her to fight other than for the belt. So I think she could be within her right to wait for a year. Yan Xiaonan waited. It just depends. It definitely kind of is smart to wait though, because if you fight again, what if you lose and you don't get to become champ? Like when Yuri took a year off, what if Yuri Prohaska stayed active and fought Rakic or Ankalaev or something like that? And then what if he lost? He could have lost and then never became champ. Like you just never know. If Carla Esparza didn't wait for Rose, Wei Li too, the winner of that, maybe she would have lost. I think she would have lost. So I do think waiting is smart. But it just all depends on the fighter. Like some fighters do not care. They'll just fight whoever. Others want to protect their spot. I don't think there's really like a right or wrong answer to that, honestly. Am I crazy for wanting an atomweight division? They should make one, and then Michelle Waterston should be a part of it. That's what I'm referring to. Do you fight for glory? Do you fight because you love the game? Yeah, I mean both matter. Glory matters, loving the game matters, but it really depends. It just really depends. Sometimes I mean it is smart to hold out, but if there comes a point where it's like there's other fights out there for you and maybe waiting around isn't worth it, then maybe you should take a fight. Like I feel like if Erin won, she should definitely take another fight, like against Rose or Barber. But Manon doesn't have she doesn't need to fight Rose again. She doesn't need to fight Macy Barber. Doesn't need to fight Natalia Silva. Like there's really no one else she needs to beat, really. Whereas I feel like with Blanchfield, there would have been a few more fights on the table for her. Manon is not a young fighter. Yeah, and that's why it's good for her that she won, because if she lost, it would have been worse for her than Erin, because Erin has bare time, bro. She's got so much time, man. Win or lose, I hope Max commits to staying at lightweight, because I feel like he's done all he's had to do at 145, except fight Ilya Taporia and become a two-time champion. But you're right, though. You're right. I mean, I want to see him fight Taporia still, but I agree. But man, I'm so hyped for 300, man. I hope Jamal Hill pulls through. I hope Yuri bounces back. That would be a perfect night. And I really hope that it's another thing I'm hoping for, that Charles Oliveira wins. I'm nervous about that one, but I think he loses, but I hope he wins. Um what was I gonna say again? Yeah, I just yeah, rooting for Charles. Hope Max wins as well. But it's gonna be a great night of fights though, and it's stacked from top to bottom. I'm really excited for Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. That's gonna be a good fight. Garbrandt Figueiredo's kicking off the main card. That's gonna be sick. But I hope this card for me is going to be like UFC 299, where like everyone who I wanted to win won. Because UFC 299, I wanted Blades to win, I wanted Barber to win, I wanted I wanted Peter Yan to win, I wanted Jack Della Maddalena to win, even though I was crushed for Burns. I wanted MVP to win. I wanted Dustin to win and O'Malley to win. They all won. It was too perfect. But I feel like as a balance now, the next card's just going to be more of a flop. Not in terms of how good it is, in terms of the quality of fights, but in terms of watched outcomes. I'm probably going to get disappointed because, like, UFC 261 was perfect, and then UFC 262 was a letdown because the card was boring. And at the time, I wasn't as much of an Oliveira fan. I didn't really care about him that much. And I'm still a Michael Chandler guy, but I wanted Chandler to win and become champ, so that disappointed me. And then Tony getting laid on for 3 rounds and losing again, that was pretty ass. So I feel like whenever there's like a really good card where I'm happy, then there always has to be that next card where I'm just unhappy. So we'll see. But I just hope it's a good card at the end of the day. Like UFC 299 was as good as hyped to be. I hope UFC 300 is not going to be a boring card. That's all I can hope for, no matter what happens. I hope every fight is as exciting as advertised because UFC 100, I don't really remember much of that card. I did watch the main card back on Fight Pass in 2020, which was pretty decent. Pretty good main card, with the knockout with Henderson. The GSP fight was okay. Brock Lesnar fight was good. The John Fitch fight was boring, though. I didn't watch it. Prelims, I didn't really watch the prelims, but 200, man, was kind of a boring card. John Jones didn't show up because of the failed drug test, and then the only good fight was the Nunes fight, the Kane fight, the Brock fight was boring, the DC Silva fight was boring, the prelim fights were boring, so I hope 300 is going to top 200. I just wish they would have a good poster. Yeah, it did. Yeah, UFC 100 was good, and it was way back in 2009. I remember watching. I didn't actually watch it. My family watched it. I was playing with action figures in my cousin's room, and then playing UFC Undisputed 2009 in my cousin's basement while my family was watching UFC 100 in the living room. And back then, I missed that card like an idiot, but I was just a kid back then. And I was still a fan. I just wouldn't pay attention when these cards were being played at these like family get-togethers. I just like watch fights on like MMA Core or Sherdog with my dad like the next day or something like that. Um, but yeah, 200 was mid. And if Jones DC 2 was on it, it would have been complete. If Connor Diaz 2 was on it and didn't get pulled because Connor didn't show up to the weigh-ins, it would have been good. But I just hope 300 can make up for that flop that 200 was. And I know a lot of fans are not happy about this card. They were expecting Connor or something else. I get it. I understand. But the fights are great, and hopefully when they play out, they're actually good. Are you going to be nervous for Gaethje Holloway? I mean, yeah, but because I'm not really expecting Max to win, my nerves are probably going to be calm. As opposed to there's some fights where it's like, I'm expecting you to win, so I'm even more nervous now because you could let me down here. Where this one, I'm expecting to be disappointed, but yeah, I will be nervous. I will be. I love UFC 300. I bought the pay-per-view for it last week. Okay, all right. I'm going to be watching that one at the bar, most likely. I watched UFC 299 in the movie theater. But this one, I'm going to go back to the pub to watch this, and I'm going to get there early to watch all the prelims. They're not going to play the Fight Pass prelims like the TSN prelims, ESPN prelims. They always play them. So, all right, but I'm gonna bounce from this live now. It's getting late, so but I'll definitely go live again. I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, peace.